Hello Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thank you so much for joining me, and if you're returning, thank you so much for doing so. This message could resonate for you if you have Capricorn as a Sun, Moon, or Rising, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus placement. But if it doesn't, don't feel the need to force it. Feel free to check out a video for another one of your signs, or to just catch me in another Capricorn video. We're going to get right into your message here, Capricorn. First things first, when I was getting into your energy space, it was very strange because I was shuffling up the cards and I was like, get into the Capricorn, energy, get into the Capricorn vibes, Capricorn mood. And the first thing that I started to see or started to feel was this sensation of there's something good here, but it's just out of focus. And when I started to focus on that, like, okay, well, let's try and bring this good thing into focus, I felt a block. And when I started to think more about this block, I'm like, okay, well, what's blocking the focus on the good thing? And I started to get this energy of just another, let's say, another energy in the midst that's sort of blocking this good thing. As I was shuffling the deck, the Five of Cups popped out, which is very much so a card of being focused on what is not going well, while there are things that you could be focused on that are going well. It's a card of regret and turmoil and remorse, and it particularly speaks to focusing so much on that you kind of neglect what doesn't make you feel all of those things, or what rather kind of can save you from feeling all of those things. So it was interesting that it popped out when I was kind of thinking like, there's something good here, and I feel like there's something very negative blocking this good thing. It's very Five of Cups energy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into your spread. We're pulling 3 cards from the Soul's Journey lesson cards. One card to basically get a root feeling, like what exists at your root right now, 2 to clarify, and then we're going to get into your regular spread. So I'm going to give these cards one last shuffle to really soak up your energy, and then we're going to pick one card. So one card for Capricorn Sun Moon popped right on out. Self-esteem. I possess the gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Wow, that is the way that it popped out so quickly. Capricorns, are you guys feeling a little insecure out there? Let's get some cards to clarify self-esteem. That one said to the fucking floor. One more. Okay, whoa. All right, very interesting combination. We have abundance. I'm a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. And with that, we have grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. So Capricorn, with self-esteem, abundance, and grief, this can very much, and also tying into kind of the feelings that I got when just trying to get into your vibe, is right now you are in a state where you see what you are capable of, you see what you can do, but I also think that there's kind of this precedent that has been set within yourself, Capricorn, where you have traditionally and historically denied parts of yourself, or denied or just had like a lack of self-esteem. Let's not say denied part of yourselves, rather that you couldn't even access certain parts of your confidence. You couldn't access certain parts of yourself that made you feel like you were abundant, even though it always existed there. And this is the thing, I think Capricorn, especially since Capricorns are very good at attracting abundance to themselves, I don't think you ever were unaware. I think it was rather you were unable to, or maybe you still feel unable to really step into this place of abundance. And with grief next to it, of course, when historically you cannot access your abundance, you attract so much lack. situations that lack, things that make you feel a sense of lack or a sense of emptiness. And I think that on the road to changing that narrative in your life, you do have to come to a point where there are a lot of things that will give you a sense of grief, things that you have to let go of, ways of being, people, situations, relationships, memories, thoughts, things that you just have to move on from. And it can fill you up with a sense of grief, because in order to get over those things, because it's not a matter of getting over those things, it's a matter of getting through those things. So you still have to go through them. So when these feelings in these situations are kind of blocking you from reaching your abundance, because it is necessary for you to overcome these things, overcome this grief in order to achieve your abundance. However, I think that there is a certain level of what has happened to you has detrimentally impacted your relationship with grief. I think grief to you kind of, I possess the gifts of the soul that benefit me and others with in self-esteem, but with grief next to it, it's like when you lose something or when something doesn't work out for you, it's hard for you not to deeply internalize that as a character flaw or as something that is just broken or defective within yourself, rather than seeing it as, a part of human emotion or a part of life or something that is a common thread amongst all of us. You see it rather as a defect within yourself. You see it as a proving or validation of all of your deepest insecurities. And that's not true, because what you should always put validation into is something that you've always known, and it's that you are abundant and that you have the ability to attract abundance. So in May, your energies definitely probably have been cycling through periods of feeling like you're abundant, and then cycling through periods where it's like, actually, no, even though I can see the abundance, look at all this other shit that's over here. Because with the 5 of Cups, there's 3 cups that are turned over and only 2 that are standing upright. So, it is saying that what saddens you does take precedent, or does weigh heavier than what is good. And that's fair and that's understandable. But, you cannot let these parts of life these things that make you feel pain and grief, you cannot let them make you feel like you're defective. These experiences, these pains that you feel in your life are a common thread that we all share. How you live through that, how you come out of that, how you face each and every single day, that is what we all have to tackle. That is all of our final. It's like it's literally everyone's task to do. Whatever you're given, good or bad. Oh my goodness. My cards. Capricorn. I can't believe my cards just did that. And particularly with, I'm sorry, I'm looking right now. Capricorn, you guys are feeling very, very much so scorned energy, because I just had a bunch of cards in my deck flip very oddly, and now they're actually kind of fucked up. So we got beef, Capricorn. But they flipped out in such a way where it almost felt kind of painful. And the particular cards that flipped over, I'm getting this energy of just being very scorned at the opportunity of finding emotional fulfillment. You feel like you're always gonna exist in a state of regret. You think that this is something that's been cast on you, something that exists in a higher power, that it's a cycle that will never end, and that's a really sad thing to internalize upon yourself. And I am sorry if you're feeling that way, Capricorn, but things can get better. Let's get into your spread. Let's see what messages that we can get for you, because I know that you do see that things are getting better. With that energy that I was getting, with that abundance energy, I know you see that abundance in yourself. So how can we focus more on that abundance? Okay, at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Wands. So the Ten of Wands, that is definitely a feeling of just having the whole burden, being overloaded, being weighed down, tied down. In this particular deck with the Ten of Wands, we have this fairy here, and she's like, everything's come up, everything is popped up out of the ground, but she's tired. She can't even really look at the work that she's done. She feels spent. Everything, she's put all of her effort into this. You may feel as though there's something that you've put all of your effort into, and you can't even feel good about that. It doesn't even feel like it's like a good effort. If you like, you're exhausted now. You don't even feel like you've gained anything but exhaustion. At the root of your issue with self-esteem, we have the Knight of Coins. So this is, the Knight of Coins is very slow moving, is very careful, calm energy, pondering. It's very thoughtful about the actions that it's going to take. It doesn't just move, it doesn't just go. It's not the Knight of Swords. It takes its time. So with this self-esteem and the Knight of Coins, you may be feeling, and in your root, you may be feeling as though it is very, very slow progress. You are focused in on these gifts that you have, these things that can carry you through your life, your ability to attract, your thing that will attract your abundance. You're focused on that, and you may not be so ready to dive in, jump in, start living this life of abundance, start existing in this space where everything is a-okay, but you're definitely, and this is Capricorn energy, y'all stay planning. So you're definitely planning. You definitely have this idea on your mind, and you are slowly making your way towards this thing. You're making your way towards this abundance. You feel exhausted. It could be from this grief, but the abundance, it's still here. It's still in your mind. And even if you may not be at its door, as much as you are on your way to it, it is on your way to you. And what's feeding this situation, we have the Two of Pentacles. So particularly with this situation, especially with abundance and grief and self-esteem and what's feeding this issue, I definitely see these Two Pentacles as you juggling your feelings with abundance and your feelings with grief. So it's like some days you're focused on what's going good and you're focused on what you can manifest and you're focused on what's going well. And then other days you're focused on what you can't manifest. You're focused on what isn't going well. You're focused on what isn't good. And that's unfortunate. But I could definitely see here with one pentacle being higher up than the other, you're probably, and with the 3 versus the 5 in the cups, you're probably, more focused on what's going poorly. And that's really what's detracting from your self-esteem and probably making you move slower towards this thing, because it's like half of your time or 3/5 of your time is being allocated to stressing and to being in a state of grief rather than focused on attracting your abundance. So your pest in this situation, interesting, your pest in this situation is the King of Cups. So the King of Cups, this could just be you being very emotional. The King of Cups is very much so rocking on his wave or his multiple waves, rippling waves of emotions. And I think that perhaps this is you. Everything is being approached in an emotional context. Did I show you the card? I'm not sure. When I look at this King of Cups in this context, I see that this dragon becomes ensnared in himself, round and round again. He goes in this loop, and I feel like perhaps that's you with your emotions. You're in an emotional loop right now, and that's your pest in this situation. It may not, for some of you, it may not be eating so deeply at your soul, but however, like, because the King of Cups is in the upright, so it's like you may be withstanding this, but however, you're in this loop and it's detracting. You're focusing on all of these emotional cycles that have already taken place, and it's detracting your focus, it's detracting your concentration, it's exhausting your energies and your efforts elsewhere, and not in an efficient manner. What's calling the situation to the surface is the Four of Wands in reverse. So the Four of Wands in reverse, that is like a lack of stability, a lack of harmony, a lack of connectedness with the people around you, and with being so overly, with a card of showing, or now that I'm getting this feeling from this King of Cups, of being so overly emotional in this situation. When I see the Four of Wands here in reverse next to this King of Cups, it's like you're so emotional in these emotional cycles. You could likely be bringing up like your emotions from, or these emotional cycles that you're so focused on are causing an imbalance. Your focus on what has happened is causing an imbalance into what is happening now. Perhaps you're projecting the past onto the future, or you're projecting the past onto the present, and you're seeing things through this veil of these cycles that have already taken place. And now it's starting to bring things to a head because, well, you know, it's not really valid, or it's not really the reality of the situation as much as it is your emotions. So what's your harvest in this situation? We have the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords with the King of Cups, the Four of Wands in reverse, and then to the Page of Swords. I see this definitely as you are projecting these emotional cycles. Once again, you're projecting these emotional cycles from the past, and they're sort of the filter for your present right now. And so that filter for your present, if you are seeing your present as your past and you're living in this past state, you're also reacting in this past state. You're also coming to be reactive in this past state. And I almost see, I'm just going to show it to you again. I look at this page and he seems so, how would I describe this? Like, he's not really colored in, and he's so like, how would you say this, like outline, like he's just outlines. And I almost see this as kind of like not something that is like really formed in reality, as much as it's just like an imagination, or like you just drawing up, or you're drawing up conclusions, you're drawing up circumstances, you're drawing up situations, you're sort of like just very much so imagining and seeing things that really aren't real. They're not really here in the 3D. Like, this is not giving me 3D vibes. And so that means that in this situation, with you projecting your emotional cycles onto your present, you're just going to keep reinforcing this disconnectedness from reality, this disconnectedness from the truth. So what you need to call in this situation is the Six of Swords. What you need to cut in this situation. So the Six of Swords, in this context, you could be, because look at how, and it's so interesting, you see in so many different like Six of Swords, they're kind of moving away from the issue or the circumstance, but they're kind of moving towards these swords. And even more interestingly, the skeleton man is on the boat with them. I don't know if you can see that. So I almost see this as like, you can't move forward and also, like, it's like trying to move forward while also still existing in the same state that you existed in before. Once again, with all of these cards here, you're letting past situations, past emotional cycles, perhaps even a past person, influence how you see your present and your future, and it's causing you to exist in this state where you're disconnected from reality, where your thoughts are very not in the right place. And with the Six of Swords saying what you need to cut out, I'm seeing it like this. Look at how you're supposed to be moving on, but these two people are obscured, and the skeleton man is lighter than everyone else. It's almost like you're moving on, but skeleton man is still here. This past situation is still here. It's still exhausting you. It's still stressing you out. This grief is still present. In whatever form in your life, you're trying to move forward with this grief that's still present. With these pentacles here, it could be something that is very tangible in your life that you cannot ignore. What's your outcome in this situation? The Moon in reverse. So what could have been holding you to this situation, especially with this Page of Swords, creating, like I see this is probably creating a lot of illusions around how you felt, these past emotional cycles presenting or projecting onto your present, creating more illusion, creating more uncertainty. With this Moon in reverse, your outcome is that thankfully you'll come to a place where you can release these illusions, release these uncertainties. Perhaps about yourself, perhaps releasing these uncertainties about yourself. What just fell out of the deck? The Seven of Coins. Yeah, you're perhaps you will really see like your ability to manifest, because you do, like that's what I'm saying, like what you plant truly does have the opportunity to grow for you, but you're not planting. Okay, so what you plant, especially with this Ten of Wands, let me find it in the deck now because I started shuffling again, but let me pull her back out, because I got the message that what you plant has the ability to grow. Anything you plant has the ability to grow, particularly you, Capricorn, because you're such a great manifester. What you put your time into, what you water, what you manifest will grow, and that is both good and bad. And with this Ten of Wands right here, this is you've grown something. It's here, it's big, it's present, and you don't even like it. You don't even want it. It affects you so deeply. It affects how you're able to move on and move forward, and you need to release that, because this thing that you've grown, it could be an uncertainty. It could be a lack of self-esteem. It could be a person that makes you feel grief. It could be a situation or circumstance. It could be something about yourself that makes you feel grievous. And I can see that you are coming to this space where you can let this go, or you can let go of your fears, because you know, like, all right, well, if I can grow anything and I grew this, I can go and I can grow something else. And that's what you really should be focused on, Capricorn, because with this Knight of Pentacles here, you are moving towards something already. You are growing something already. You just, with this Two of Pentacles, need to put more focus onto that and not focus onto these old cycles, because they will just only keep you in a state of disillusionment. Release this disillusionment. Understand that you attract abundance to yourself. Understand that losing something is just an opportunity to appreciate it. That you can appreciate everything that's ever hurt you. You can appreciate everything that you've ever stood against, or that's ever stood against you. And you can release that for the sake of obtaining your abundance, for the sake of recognizing your abundance and moving towards that, no matter how slow or how fast. Okay? That's all I have for you, Capricorn. I hope you enjoyed these messages. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.